One thing with Ia, it took a year to get the paperwork done, but with Brant, I guess it was the second time, so I got it done quicker, about in 6 months, and then we had Brant 6 months later. And now China only adopts special needs. I guess 1% is healthy children, but the rest is special needs. So, and they have a lot of little boys in China, more so than girls. And we originally with Brant said, with our second adoption, thought we would have, we'd adopt a little girl. Ia really wanted a sister. But the more I thought about it, I thought, you know, I'm just gonna mark either and see what happens. And it ended up being a little boy.
At the time, when Ia was adopted, it was, people didn't understand adoption. And there are still a lot of places in the world where people don't understand why you would take somebody else's baby. They get these questions. I had a question from a man I met in Switzerland. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just have your own? So there's a cultural misunderstanding in a lot of places as to why you even adopt. And well, China was pressing the process, but in order to make it more exciting, more acceptable for the people in China, they were adopting the healthy babies domestically. And so you'd have all the medical pre-existing conditions. And what you ended up with was a lot of boys now, because now people are keeping girls. So now it's all these boys with pre-existing conditions. And Brant has special hands. His thumb looks like your little toe, it's underdeveloped, and his middle fingers are fused. So he's permanently throwing up Wyoming or Wu-Tang, however you want to throw that out there, but he's a Polk supporter now, a cowboy for life because he's throwing Wyoming out. And it's likely he's from an agricultural part of it, and maybe his folks thought, well, this kid's never going to be able to do ag work, you know, or manufacturing. There's some little things that he couldn't do, but he can do my job. He can do my wife's job. There's all kinds of jobs in the U.S. that he could do. 95% of jobs he can do. But it would be difficult for his grip and things to be doing what was probably the traditional industry where he's from. And all we can do is think about how he ended up where he did. But we think that he was, again, abandoned at about 7 months. So his mom probably likely bonded with him, but because he loves to snuggle. And then he's given to the orphanage. And when he first went in there, they made notes that said that he wasn't getting along. Of course he's not. He was abandoned and he didn't understand what was happening.
Brant, he didn't like anyone except for his food. But he's now loves everyone. He got way faster than Ia because he just accepted it. Ia didn't quite accept it at the time.
He couldn't do a lot of things with his hands at first. And we find out one of the ways that so if you have 6 people, 6 caregivers and 60 kids in a room, it's all about keeping it clean and keeping it wrapped. So they'd feed him out of what is like a frosting bag. So they grind up some chicken, some rice, noodles, and you go. And so, that's how they get their nutrients. So any food they would get, you know, that they're hoarding any like crackers and things that they could get, because that's the way that they were being fed. And he was really, he was a skinny kid when we got him. And I tell people I don't trust skinny babies. Like I think Bin Laden was probably a skinny baby. So we had to immediately start feeding him bad food. That's part of what it is. And actually we had a tradition when we adopted Ia. We decided we wanted to get her some food. Well, she'd been crying for 4 hours. So I look across the street and there's a McDonald's. And so, because Sarah said, well, I'm not leaving this room. It's just too stressful. So I go down and get her some chicken nuggets because she could hold them and eat them. So with Brant, we had to go get him chicken nuggets too, because that's what we do. When the Pedersons adopt kids from China, the first meal is chicken nuggets. So we kept our tradition going when we adopted Brant.
He was serious face, like all the time. We'd try and cheer him up. Like my mom would play a little game with him and he'd look forward and he'd go just awkwardly. And then because like he's never met us before, he's never seen our faces in a photograph, so he must have felt really, really scared. He must have thought he was being stolen, but we were actually taking him to our care.
This one was different because when we got Ia, we got her off in a separate room. In this case, we had a room full of 12 other families, and they're all getting their baby. You don't know, and so the door opens up, and is it ours? You know, because you don't know, because there's no order, right? And the baby comes in, and then they get matched, and then baby comes in, and we were literally the last family that was there. So everybody's matched. We've been there 2 hours, and they finally come up with Brant. And this is just how long it takes them to drive from whatever, all the different orphanages that they're from, to come to this central center where we connect them. And he comes in, look, you know, you tell the story that there was this giant hug, right? We became a family, but that's not the story. He sees us, and again, I don't look like anything in China. And he's freaked out. And so we're having, we've got little toys, we've got bones. He runs back to the guy who's the head of his orphanage and just like won't leave him. So finally we take him out, and he's got these cookies, and he won't let go of the cookies. Because again, the food is so important to him, and he's squirming, trying to get away. And we're trying, you know, we're singing to him, we're doing all those things, but you can't say to him, hey, it's okay, we're your forever family, because one, he speaks Mandarin. So all I do is sound like Charlie Brown's teacher, you know, because he doesn't understand anything that's coming out of my mouth. So I can't soothe him. He's not used to what's happening. So finally, after an hour and a half of him crying, I think he just broke. And he just said, well, I guess that I'm going with these weird aliens to wherever this place is. Got a sucker and just relax.
I think it was cool that I got to be in the room to see him, because when my brothers went to adopt me, they didn't get to. They had to stay in the hotel room.
You got to be there?
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
It felt really good.
What was it like when you first saw him walk into the room?
I was sweating of happiness, and I was like wondering what he's going to be like, and what he's going to do.
We take him back to the room, and we needed to figure out a way to make him okay to hug, because if you tried to touch him, it was like your skin was made of battery acid, and he'd rip his hand away because I don't trust you, you know. And so we had so what's a trust is a nice crispy high five is the best way. So we all sat in a circle and we played pass the high five, and so I would I'd give, you know, Brock a high five, and then Brock would fall back and laugh like it's the best thing that ever happened to him, right? And they'd give it to his brother and stuff. And then Brant steps in because he wants to get in on the high five. And then so he goes, and so we don't even call it a high five, we call it a crispy. A nice crispy high five. So give me a crispy. And he gets this crispy high five, and then we started the safe touch. And then after that, we could, you know, touch me. And he actually sat on Brock, let Brock play with him a little bit. And he, of course, immediately bonded with Sarah. Everybody bonds with Sarah first. Nobody likes me at first. I have to grow on you, but everybody likes Sarah first, so that was fine, and that's the way we wanted it to work. We needed the babies to bond with Sarah because she was going to take some time off and stay home with them, and then I would go to work. And if he bonded with me first, then it would be this ugly transition of every morning, the anger as he's being abandoned.